What's up, everybody? Michael Silva here, episode 75 of live day trading here on Webull. We're over here at ticker symbol BA. Not in any positions yet, but let's go ahead and get into it. All right, I am here on the 15-minute time frame, and I wanted to point out a couple things. So when I did the weekly scan, I noticed this as a good short opportunity. It had one up day, and then it really started dragging down, making it pretty decent, really good short opportunity. It was up at like almost 250 or 250 range. Now it's down at 185. Now on today's action, I'm on the 15-minute time frame. I want to point out this gap down and then this pattern that it's forming. It's forming a bull flag, but it's in bearish context. Now when you have a bull flag, they don't always work to the upside where you can see, potentially break the top and then move up here. Now it's always a possibility. Now look, notice the length of the pull right there. It comes right up to close the gap window. Now I don't necessarily think that this is going to break to the upside. I think personally with the gap down, that means there's that kind of force to push the price a little bit lower. So I think we might see a breakdown and this price head lower throughout the day. When I look at the SPY, very similarly, it has a kind of a support around the 310, which is 3,100 on the S&P 500, which is a lot of support. So this area right here on BA, and then you have the same action kind of taking place on the SPY. The setup isn't quite there yet, so what we need to do is wait for some sort of confirmation. I personally think that we will get a break below this. So we'll probably play the flush to the downside. Now, if I can get in just before that, that might be great. 185, but I think a 185 would be the main flushing point. So as soon as we break 185, we can see a really significantly jolt down from that point. So let's just go ahead. This might be a little bit longer term of a swing, not a swing trade, but it might be a little bit longer of a trade because we're on the 15-minute time frame. This skinnier blue line right here throughout the screen, as you can see, it acted as resistance there too. Basically 189. That area is the 68% retracement level on the Fibonacci, which is also just adding to this area of resistance overall. So you have that resistance and then this gap down. So there's a lot of things working against the current right now for this price to be moving up towards it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just start in 100 shares short right here at basically just the, I'll put in, actually I'll draw it out. There we go. So I have 100 shares short so far. That's just to potentially capture the speculation that it's going to be breaking down. But if it goes up, I'll just capture some more profit, or not profits, but capture some more shares up here to the short side. So the price, the lower it goes, the more profit that can be made. All right, so it looks like we did get that break below the bottom portion of the bull flag in bearish context. So that was the break we were looking for. As far as if it stays below there, well, it has to be able to close below there. Now a new candle just formed, so it's very possible that it might just move itself back into the channel. It could be a false breakout, but we will see here. Typically what can take place is when it breaks, it gets retested. So once resistance is broken, once support is broken, which that was a level of support, it then becomes resistance. So we'll see here how it plays out. Now what I find interesting here is the price action on the markets right now is pretty much sideways since open. I mean, there's a big gap down and it's just been moving sideways. So I feel like some sort of move is going to be happening in the near future. It could be end of day though when that takes place. And the time right now is 7:46 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So it could be a while before we get that. Right now, 7, 8, 9, 10. Traders are going to be going into lunch here probably in the next hour or so. So that's when really you start seeing kind of a slump off, just sideways action continue, and or just like a subtle like pull down just a little bit, and then kind of just like this, like a puddle, like the depth of a puddle. Okay, so right now it is moving lower. The SPY did break the 310 level. It just is now below it on the 5-minute time frame. Well, on every time frame, but it's at 309.88 on the SPY. So that did break the low of the day of the SPY, which could mean that potentially we might see Boeing break the low of the day. Now, I use SPY as a forward-looking indicator. It's just a, it's a good look as to where the markets are heading. So I like to interpret that into my analysis with my stocks that I am trading. Now it looks like 183.50 looks like for the next area for it to really kind of break below. I'm going to go ahead and look at the other time frames here on the 5 minute. This is the 1 minute time frame. This blue line right here represents the upper part of that flag channel, and as you see it pulled down, shows some sign of strength right here. Now it's showing some signs of weakness, so this is somewhat of a little bit of a dead cat bounce. Same thing happened back here, boom, bounced up, boom, came down. So what we're seeing here could be just a little bounce before we get more to break to the downside. So 160, 183.60 is the next level there, really, that we're going to be testing. And if we can get a break below 183.60, I'll go ahead and put yellow there. If we can get a break below the 183.60, now I wouldn't want to see this candle really break the high of these. I want to see it stay lower. Let me see here. Come on, push, push, push lower. Got about 10 more seconds left on this candle. I do not need to see a big pop. Okay. Somewhat of an indecision candle, maybe potentially a spinning top. So that could bring into a pop. If I look at the MACD, it does kind of look like it's wants to pop, but there's a lot of downwards pressure, so we'll see here. Okay, there's that downwards pressure on the 1 minute time frame. Boom. Now we're going to break the 160. Is it going to act as support? It acted as support again. Come on. Break it. Break it. There we go. We just had that break, so it created a new low there. Boom. It's pushing lower, so I'm going to go ahead and go back into the 15-minute time frame. As you can see, it broke that yellow line. Now we're going into the second yellow line, which could be a good profit taking area, because if I look at the 5-minute chart, it comes back to that candle over here. So I'm going to go ahead. Oh boy, is it bouncing from it? Let's see here. So 182.97, so 183.05 would be a good area to take profits. I'll take 50 shares off the table when it gets there. Actually, I'll take 25 because I still think it has more potential to go down. So this yellow line will be 183.05. If it does reach there, I'll take some profits off the table. Went down to 183.17. Come on, baby. Come on now. I know if it breaks that 183.17, we're going to hit my target. Or one of my targets. Actually modify. I'm going to take a little bit more off the table. Oh, there it is. Is it? Cut. 108. There it is. Alright, so that order got filled. It just bounced at 183. Next level to break really is 183. Okay, so now I have 75 shares left. I'm going to go ahead and remove those two yellow lines. Now really, actually I'll keep one of them there. Really the next point after that point, if we can get the full break below, the reason why I had it just a little bit higher than this candle right here, that had a low of 182.79, is because I needed to be ahead of that in order to get the profits. Now if we can break below that low of 182.79, 182.80, let's call it. I'm going to move the yellow line there. 280. If we get a below there, really there's nothing from this all the way to down here, 178, that's going to keep it from stopping. So it's going to be interesting to see. If I look back in the history of the chart, there's really nothing going on. So if we get that break, we can see that pop down. And it looks like we're getting that break somewhat here. Now I'm going to take some more shares off the table. So I'm going to remove 25 more shares off the table. It's just a good trade overall right there. Okay, so remember this. I'll make another here at the bottom of the chart. Boom. This bottom line is going to disappear here, but what I want to look at is these ones right here. So now, really, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting my stop loss. So my entry point was right here, this green line, right? So now I'm going to be having my stop loss above the high of each new candle that forms. So, for example, my stop loss is now 183. If I want to give it some room, it could be a little bit higher, but oh man, this is crazy. So it's pushing so low. Okay, so my stop loss is going to be 182. 35. So I took off a total of 50 of my 100 shares. I have 50 shares remaining. And now as new candles form, that's where my stop loss goes. So for example, if this candle, the high of it is right here at this, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move it down my stop loss to 182.95, or basically right above that at that point. So as of right now, 184.35 is my stop loss. Now we're at an interesting time where it's not if I can or can't make money on this trade. It's how much money will I make on this trade, because I'm in the profits. I already took some off the table. My stop loss is below my entry point, so we're looking pretty healthy right now. Next break is 182. Actually, I'm going to take some shares off the table because the SPY is running into an interesting area of support right now, and it's coming around a round number of 182, so we may or may not see a bounce. So I figured, why not? I'll just take some more profits. We're going to be down to 25 shares remaining. Okay, so I know that this candle has not formed fully yet, and we still have 14 minutes for it to fully form, but because it's made that aggressive move to the downside, I don't want to see it go from all the way down here to all the way up here. So I'm going to have my stop loss now at 183.05. The reason for that is simply because what I stated. It already aggressively, basically it opened here and just moved all the way down. So if it reverses and starts moving up, then we would probably see the bounce up to that high point. And I don't want to lose, 25 shares worth of profit going from 183 to 184. My stop loss is now 183.06. with 25 shares remaining. Yeah, I'm out. Okay, so $341 profit for the day. Look at that, okay? Very simple. So this is a good lesson, okay? Just because, and gosh, my chart looks all like crazy right now. Let me remove some stuff. So just because it was a bull flag doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to break out to the upside. So people got to understand the context of a chart, and that's why I wanted to share this with you, especially this type of setup, is because the context of the chart really matters. This is a bull pattern, right? It's bullish, but it's in overall bearish context. When you have this gap down, came down, it showed strength and showed weakness, and then kind of went sideways, it's a good indication that you might be seeing a breakdown to the downside. Doesn't always happen, but if you're prepared, you can play it either way. So I could have just had a entry long down here and then played the bounce, but if it goes past a certain point, I could have reversed it. So either way, I played it short and I speculated before the breakout. I like speculating before the breakout takes place, just because sometimes I miss my entry. I'm not fast enough on the breakout because it can go from 183 to 182 in like a snap of the finger. Now you see this price start to move up. Yeah, it's interesting, huh? Well, it's funny because you look at the SPY and it also found a bounce point too. That's why I love using that as an indicator. But okay, yeah, there you go. $341.76 for the day. 15 minutes, right? 20 minutes maybe? I don't know. Somewhere around there. 30 minutes. All right, I'll see you on the next episode. Later.